guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anastasia and here we talk about investing and especially investing for beginners. In today's video I would like to tell you about Vanguard because Vanguard is one of the main platforms for investing, not just for the beginner investors but also for more experienced ones. I personally heard about Vanguard a long time before I started investing myself, and Vanguard was also the first platform where I registered. But it took me some time to research the topic and to understand whether Vanguard is a platform that I could trust and if it was suitable for the purposes that I was trying to achieve. That's why I had this idea to create this video where I would like to tell you the main things about Vanguard I wish I knew when I was about to start. I will also tell you about the main advantages and disadvantages of Vanguard over other platforms. If you find this information useful or interesting, please click the like button below. If you have some thoughts that you would like to share with me, please comment. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I will be very grateful if you decide to do so. If you don't have time or you don't feel like watching this video to the end, you're just looking for the answer whether Vanguard is a trustworthy company or not, the quick answer is yes, it is definitely trustworthy. So you shouldn't worry that you will lose your money because Vanguard will go bankrupt. But you should always remember that investing always involves risks. That means that the companies that you invest in may go bankrupt and the share price may go down, meaning that you will lose some of the money that you've invested. And for those people who decided to watch this video a little bit further to get a little bit more information, I will just quickly tell you about what Vanguard actually is. Vanguard or Vanguard Asset Management is a fully regulated company operating in the UK that is controlled by the Financial Conduct Authority or FCA. It was originally founded in the US in 1975. And it has always been popular for its low-cost index tracking funds. At the moment, Vanguard has about 20 million individual investors all over the world. For a long period of time it was available only in the US, and people in the UK could invest into these funds through other platforms, but these platforms were charging some commissions on top. So for the UK customers, for some time it wasn't as cheap as for the US customers. But now Vanguard also launched its UK branch called Vanguard Investor, where you can register and you can buy these funds directly, which means that this is much cheaper for you. In order to understand whether Vanguard would be something suitable for you or not, you first have to understand what an index fund is. So imagine that you want to start investing, but you don't have much money. And you also don't want to take big risks. That's why you want to invest into the biggest companies because they are usually the safest. You choose 500 biggest companies, for example in the US, and ideally you would like to buy shares of each company individually, but you don't have enough money. This is where it might be a very good idea to start investing into a fund. Before Vanguard appeared, there were so-called mutual funds. Mutual fund usually had a manager. A manager would be a person who would work full-time trying to understand which companies are the best to invest in, how much money to put into each individual company. He would be a person who would be in control of your money. It was a good idea, especially for those investors who didn't want to spend much time researching the companies and also those who didn't have much money to invest. But the downside of a mutual fund was the commission, because you always had to pay some money to the manager and these fees would usually be quite high. The funds that are offered by Vanguard are basically the same as mutual funds with just one difference. There is no manager. This person, the manager of a fund, is replaced by a computer, and this computer is using a certain algorithm. Using a computer instead of a real person helps to bring the cost of managing this fund down by quite a bit. But like with anything else, there are also some disadvantages of using Vanguard. The least important one for me is the fact that there is no app, because the whole idea of Vanguard is keeping the expenses as low as possible. They didn't even create an app yet. It's not a big deal and you can always open the website and use it from your laptop or from your phone, but the app is just so much easier, and with the other platforms that I'm using for investing, I downloaded their apps and I can use their apps and I'm checking them every day, several times a day. But with Vanguard, because there is no app and I constantly have to use my browser to open the actual website, I don't tend to check it as often as I check check other platforms. So it depends on how you look at this situation. For some people, it might be actually an advantage rather than a disadvantage. The other disadvantage is the fact that with Vanguard, you have only a certain choice of funds, but you cannot invest into individual shares, and I would say it's quite boring. When you start investing and you don't know what you're doing, it's probably the best choice out of all choices you have. But when you go further and when you start to feel more experienced and you want to try new things, you want to invest into companies that you like or into companies that you believe have a very good future, you cannot do it with Vanguard. You can buy ETFs for the current price, but for every transaction there is a fee, and the fee is quite high. So if you want to trade ETFs all the time, that's actually not the best idea to use Vanguard. There are other platforms such as Trade212, eToro, Free Trade. I talk about these platforms in other videos, and I will attach the links below this video. If you want to watch them, please do so. But for Vanguard, the main idea is a passive investment. That's something that you just put your money in regularly, preferably regularly. For example, what I do, I transfer a certain amount of cash every month, and then with this cash I buy certain funds depending on the month, depending on how I feel. And again, I spoke about it in another video where I talked about my strategy for investing. I will attach the link to this video in the description box below. But just for you to get the general idea, the money that I'm investing with Vanguard is a long-term investing, and I'm not going to touch this money until I retire. So if you want to start investing with Vanguard, the first thing that you will have to do is to choose the account that you want to open. If you open the Vanguard page on the internet, this is the home page that you will see. This is the British version, and it's called vanguardinvestor.co.uk. You can scroll down and you see that they offer 75 different funds, and there are two different options. You can invest into a ready-made portfolio fund. This is where there are many funds and they cover pretty much the whole world and different companies, different strategies, different industries. So your risk is very low. It will include not just the companies, but it will also include bonds. If you invest into bonds, it's pretty much impossible for you to lose the money, but the profits that you may get are lower as well, because whenever the risk is lower, the profits are lower too. You can also build your own portfolio. Then you see the different types of accounts that Vanguard has to offer. You can open stocks and shares ISA. This is where you get £20,000 per year tax-free. You can open the general account, but usually if you already have stocks and shares ISA where you invested 20,000, this is where you start investing through the general account. Before that, it makes total sense to open stocks and shares ISA. If you want to save for your retirement, then you open a pension account. And junior ISAs are good for those who want to open the account for their children, but the children are too young to have their own account. Below the types of accounts, you see the information about fees. This company is as transparent about their fees as possible. They remind you about them all the time. Every time you are buying a fund, they will remind you about the fees that you will be charged on all of the funds. So it's pretty much impossible to miss anything. Then, as I said below, they tell you that you can check your profile from any equipment. You can use a laptop, you can use a tablet or a phone, but they don't have the app. That's why I say it's not such a big deal, because you can still check your profile, you can still check your account. It's not a problem as long as you have the internet. To read about all the funds that Vanguard has to offer, you have to open the tab What We Offer, and here the first line you see our full list of funds. If you click here, you will see all the 75 different funds that Vanguard has to offer. You can read about them, you can see the previous performance, but always remember that previous performance will not indicate future results. And another good feature that Vanguard has to offer is called Invest in Education. If you open this tab here, Invest in Education, you can read a lot about ways to choose account. They will try to help you to choose the right life strategy account or the right fund that fits your ideas and purposes of investing the best. So look, you can read general information about investing. You can read about how to choose the right account for you. You can read about how to choose the right fund, you can calculate your pension. All the information is already there, but from my own experience, I read all that information already after I invested my money with them, because all I needed to know is how safe the actual company is. With Vanguard, because they are FCA regulated, your money is safe for up to £85,000. In general, when it comes to investing, the rule number one is the sooner you start, the better. Of course, don't put all of your money and don't put any money into a very risky assets. But Vanguard doesn't offer any high-risk assets. That's the good thing about Vanguard. That's why it's so good for beginner investors. And if you decide to put a little sum every month, you will soon see this money grow and it will build up your confidence. Then what happened to me, I felt more ready to go further and to start buying individual shares of individual companies that I did on other platforms. But I still think for the beginners, Vanguard is just perfect because it's cheap, it's safe, and it allows you a completely hands-off investment strategy where you just put money and the computer and algorithm decides for you what is the best way to invest your money. So that's it, guys. That was a very general information about Vanguard, but honestly, if I watched a video like that at the beginning and if I knew that I can trust the person in the video, I would definitely do it, and there is no extra information that I'd need before I invested my first money. I didn't have any friends who were investing with Vanguard before I started. That's why I didn't have anyone to ask for recommendation from. That's why my offer to you is, if you have any questions about Vanguard or in general about investing, you can leave a comment and I will be very happy to answer your questions or make a video about the questions that you have. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video to the end. I hope you found it interesting and useful, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.